Hello, welcome to Agric Economy on ARCN Television, Abuja, Nigeria. I am Khadija Oluwatoyin Amin. The program is where we bring to you the economic benefits of agricultural sector, and this, of course, is not concerned to just the government, but of course all stakeholders and our in-house guests that is always shedding light on different topic. He's also here in the studio with us today. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
As you can see, I have so many books and to shed light on a topic for this morning. This is a topic we had discussed before now, but one episode alone cannot do justice to that topic, which is the evaluation of agric investment by the Nigerian government. The previous administration had come out to say so many things they wanted to do as regards taking the sector to its right of place. They were able to do their bit, and then when the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over office, he also made it an important note that the agric sector is one important sector that Nigeria needs to help and harness. And looking at it all round, how is the investment programs going?
Actually, the Bola Tinubu government has tried right from the beginning of the administration to lay a foundation and a framework for agricultural development in Nigeria, borrowing from what the past administration has done. This new government is willing to pump a lot of resources to ensure that our agricultural system is improved, and there is more opportunities for Nigerians as regards agriculture. So the way it is, even if you look at the statistics, before this new government came in, capital importation in agriculture has started increasing gradually, and we believe that if all the plans that this government has to enhance agricultural value chain and to ensure that there is enough arable land for farmers and intending farmers as well to use, then we believe that the government will be able to fulfill a good portion of its plans as regards agricultural improvement and investment. But be that as it may, Nigeria still has a lot of opportunities that is available in the agricultural sector. If we are talking about arable land, that is the land that is fit for use for agricultural purposes, we have not even used up to 50% of the arable land that Nigeria has, looking at about 85 to 90 million hectares that we have not used so far. So these are opportunities that Nigerians can take up on, and looking at the fact that the government of Nigeria is willing to ensure that it puts agriculture in the front burner, then we should be heading for something good as regards agriculture and its value chain.
Okay, when you say investment, people would look at, sitting and relaxing, and then, what are they putting in for the sector to thrive. If farmers have not begun to hear the naira and the dollar, behind every figure, they tend not to really understand what it is. Before now, we had different programs, just even before the last administration went on. Small holder farmers were actually given some, let me say, loans by the Bank of Industry, who now said that it has to be. That was when they decided that they were not going to work with associations and the rest of it. So far, we've not heard anything, and both ministers have hit the feet on the ground to say that yes, this sector has to thrive, whether they like it or not. Let me quote the Minister of State. He will say that we are not thinking inside the box. Let us just throw the box away and let's start thinking straight. All hands must be on deck. Putting on hands on deck, what should government do?
Actually, the policies laid out by the government in the early life of this administration should be strictly implemented. There should be cash backing for most of those plans to ensure that there is increase in smallholder farmers. There is a provisions of financial support for youths that are interested in farming. There is a land earmarked for farming purposes in all the 36 states and the FCT, and also that there is a ranching opportunities as well, designated for ranching to accommodate every sector of the agricultural value chain. The government in the past have made promises, and if you statistically review those promises, you see that probably 5% or 10% of it are done. But agriculture needs a total push in Nigeria, right from budgeting for agriculture to implementation, and to ensure that there is policy coordination to the extent that every action that the government takes is reviewed periodically to ascertain the extent of success or otherwise. So this government, with the plans that has been rolled out, I believe that by now the ministers of agriculture should start running with those plans to ensure that there is enough backing and there's enough policy that is being run to ensure that these people have started feeling the impact of government plans as regards agriculture. Because as we are starting afresh now, it's better to hit the iron when it is hot. So I believe this government can do a lot to change the narrative as regards agriculture in the areas of investment, in the areas of providing an enabling environment for both private and international investors to come in to partner with the government as regards agriculture in Nigeria. It's a whole gamut of opportunities that, if this government is deliberate, we will be able to achieve significant success.
Okay, looking at partnership, I was coming to in the areas where stakeholders want to come in, and harness the potentials of the sector. Which areas do you think? Of course, we know that staple foods and the rest of it have seen more of stakeholders coming in to invest and the rest of it, and we have a lot more of other sectors of the agric that it needs to be harnessed as well.
Actually, Nigeria needs to do a whole lot when it comes to logistics.
Okay.
And logistics in agriculture is very key. It's one thing to produce products, crops, and it's another for it to get to the right place at the right time and for it to be sold at the right price that the farmer can smile on. Another aspect that investment is needed is those high yielding crops that is essentially needed in Nigeria, like sesame seed, like cocoa, and some other ones that the profitability level is very high. We need a lot of investment in those areas. Why not neglecting the others so as to be able to improve the opportunities? The government made a policy of recent by allowing importation of rice, palm oil, and the rest. In as much as I do not fault the plans of the financial, the central bank as regards the financial framework and oversight of what they are doing, but I believe that it could also affect local production because it will increase the competition, and it could make some investors that are coming from foreign countries to come and start in Nigeria to feel threatened that instead of coming to start, why don't they just be importing it?
Yes.
So those are issues that the government also need to look at as regards agricultural sector, because Nigeria has a whole lot. We have the capacity, we have the human capital to be able to do well in agriculture, but there are teething problems, and part of these teething problems is allowing undue competition in the sector. Okay,
yes, I was actually coming to that. That was what I was trying to pen down. Now some of the borders have been open to some of these items that we before now, and we know that for me, of course, not having my personal opinion, if you see it's general that when the borders were closed for rice importation, we saw that every state in Nigeria were trying as hard as they could in ensuring that they're key into rice production. And these even made them, I would say, became something that created so much value chain that even youth are beginning to have, jobs, created job create, and the rest of it. Now that we have these borders open, what is, like you said, what is this effect on investment? Like you mentioned, some investors may feel, why not just stay back and then, you know, get it imported?
To me, just like I said earlier, I do not fault the plan of the CBN to intervene to sustain the naira or to save the naira, because part of the argument is that these 43 items that were restricted from purchasing FX from this primary market actually affected the widening gap between the primary market and the black market that caused opportunities for arbitrage. But you discover that if we allow them to source forex from the primary market, it's a good idea so as to be able to have enough leverage and control on those that come for forex through the CBN. But there are other issues that the CBN needs to tackle to be able to ensure that that policy is productive on the long run. And one of the issues is intervening in a way that there will be enough foreign exchange for the CBN to be able to disburse to those that are sourcing forex from the primary market. That has not happened up till now, and that also made the gap to widen to the extent that we are seeing a US dollar exchanging for 1,300 naira. So that is by the side, because the CBN tries to intervene in the sector. That's why these items that included rice, palm oil and the rest were lifted. But when you look at the local production, you discover that, just like you said, the states and other stakeholders have started intervening when these items were lifted, and most especially in the past 3 years, we discovered that there is something that we can call a semblance of rice revolution, although it has not gotten to the peak yet. But one thing that I also feel is that in as much as the government is encouraging the states and local investors to go into production of this product, because even as it is, without importation in the past 3 years, the local production has not been able to sustain Nigerians. That is the fact, truth be told. So we still need a supplement somewhere that can be as regards importation of this product, especially rice and some of the others. So we need to increase our capacity in the face of this importation. What I feel the government should do is to create an enabling environment and do not give an unfair advantage to those that are importing these products. How can we create an enabling environment in this regard? Ensure that those that are locally producing these products like rice and palm oil and the rest are given adequate opportunity, less tax and other things to ensure that they can actually recoup their investment in the business, while those that are importing are levied the level of tax that will make sure that the government does not lose what he has given to the local investors. He can take from those that are importing so that they will be on the same page. Because if, for example, it costs so amount to be able to produce right to the finished product, for example, and somebody is now bringing at an amount that is far less than what it costs to produce, you can imagine that that person will run at a loss, so which is a major problem. So the government needs to look at that and ensure that we do not rob Peter to pay Paul, in as much as we say that we are allowing importation of some of these products.
Okay, I'll still come back to that importation of rice, but then let's take a quick break. When we return, the program continues. Stay tuned. Yes, welcome back. It's still the program Agric Economy on ARSN Television, Abuja, Nigeria, and we have been talking, discussing the evaluation of agric investments by the Nigerian government. This is on the backdrop of the ban lifting of some food items that have been, been banned for a couple of years now. Amongst of these popular is the rice, and my guest has been discussing with us is Mr. Gabriel Dakolo. Thank you for joining us on the program, sir. Okay, so before we went on the break, I was to ask you, citing rice as one of our popular food in Nigeria as an example. If you go to the markets now, you know that rice is, for you to get a good rice, you should have like 52,000, 55,000. That's for Nigerian rice. Yeah. And if you're getting, of course, the foreign rice, you should be having your 50, 60 and above. With this lift, before now, there's this complaint that some rice that come into the country, some are rubber, some are this, some are that, and the rest of it. It's not about lifting the bans. Nigerians want to understand, what should government do? Yes, the bans have been lifted. There were reasons before these items were banned, aside the forex exchange. Yes. The health part of it. Yes. What can government do in checkmating all of this?
Actually, I give it to the local producers of rice in Nigeria. The wholesale grain, the local production has been top-notch, very healthy, and I can safely say one of the best in the world when it comes to rice grain production. The way I see the imported rice is the way I want to describe what Nigerians used to do when they go to China to get a product manufactured for them. They used to say that when you get to China and you get to a manufacturer, for example, he will ask you, what amount do you think you want the product to be like? We have for this amount, we have for this amount, we have for this amount. So you tell me. When you tell them, then they will prepare according to your budget. So the originality of the product you get in China is as regards the amount that you are willing to put in, you are willing to pay. And because of our local businessmen trying to maximize profits, they can decide to say, look, I want you to produce an iron for me for 3,000 naira. And when it is done, put in the name of a very prominent manufacturer, shipped to Nigeria, they start selling for 20,000 just to maximize profit and to defraud the people. That is the same way that some of the importers of these products like rice could approach the producers of this grain outside the country. We know major countries like Indonesia and Malaysia that produces rice, and they also have varieties of grain that they have, and they also have the one that they call that have stayed over time, that you can say in Nigeria in local parlance, sales. So when an importer gets there and is giving these opportunities, that look, we have this one that is sales. It has been here, we have not been able to sell it for about 2 years, but we can reduce the price for you to a certain amount. We have this one that we have produced, but the value is not so much. This is the cost. And we have this one that is wholesale grain, rich and everything. This is the value. Then the producer, the importer now decides to look at the one that will be most profitable for him and most beneficial. Now, the importer has a right to pick whatever cost or price of the product that he wants. And Nigeria, as a country, has a right to decide what kind of product comes into our country, and that is where the government steps in. As much as there are no standards met by an importer of such staple food like rice and other things that affect the hygiene and the health of the people, then people will continue to import all types of substandard products. So that is where the people at the border, the customs officers, the health inspectors, and all the people that are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that products that are imported imported into the country are top-notch, fit for use, and also will not be injurious to the health of Nigerians. So that if we emphasize and we ensure that these products does not get to our market, and there are deterrents, there are deterrents to people, for example, that carry cocaine, both in and out of Nigeria.
Yes.
Let these deterrents be extended to those that import substandard products into this country. For example, if you import a rice grain that the quality is very low, not only should it be seized, but the people that import it should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Yes.
That way, we will reduce the cost, the hazardous cost of it to Nigerians' health. So these are issues that the government should look critically, in as much as we are opening our borders, allowing importation of these products, but we must ensure that the products imported are standard ones, and Nigeria should not be made a dumping ground. So it's very important.
Okay, aside looking at this staple food and the rest of it, how can what are your calls for stakeholders to come in?
Actually, the good news is that the government has shown a good sign of engaging with the people, of ensuring that there is level playing field for agriculture, of putting agriculture in the front burner of its policies for the country. That I believe that stakeholders should key in to this government objective so that we can do it together. I believe that the government alone cannot be able to bring out 100% success in agricultural revolution in Nigeria without the input of other stakeholders like the farmers, the investors, the financial sector, and even the populace as a whole. So I believe that since the government has shown a good hand to ensure that agriculture is put in the front burner, the stakeholders in all the sectors, the farmers, should key in with the government to be able to play our own parts to ensure that as the government is bringing out these policies, we embrace it to ensure that we maximize the opportunity thereof.
Okay, quickly before I let you go, we've seen youth come into different sectors, especially when we talk ICT. You see them, the Google today have most Nigerian youths as their, their IT persons and the rest of it. How can we woo these young guys into agriculture? We've been talking about Agric is not about the cutlasses and the hoe and the rest, but even doing other jobs and doing every other thing, how can we woo them to understand that you can actually invest in agriculture, but then not be practically on ground?
Yes. One beautiful thing that is happening in Nigeria is that we have a lot of investment platforms now that are Agric focused, and they do what we call crowdfunding, and they allow people to invest in their programs. Although there is a caveat here, which I need to say, that I'm not advocating for anybody to go and invest in an investment that you are not certain of, that you have not done your research upon, and that you are just putting your money, because I tell you, some of them can even give you returns or promise you returns of 100% of your income. I don't know how visible that is, but what I'm trying to say is that even if you do not want to carry a hoe and a cutlass to start agriculture, you can invest in a firm that is genuinely investing in agriculture, and the returns can be enormous if it is properly done. So you don't need to be a practicing farmer to be actively involved in agriculture. As a youth, if you do not feel that you want to dirty your hands, as people call it, in going to the farm and doing all sorts, you can be an investor and monitor your investment. The other aspect of it, which I also feel is important, is that the world has gone digital, and the digital innovations have made things to improve. And I used to look at some adverts, and they show countries like Kenya that they can be using they are using monetary apps to sell agricultural products. Now, if we use app to advertise agricultural products, we can also use this app to give adequate information to our youths as regards what to do in agriculture, as regards weather conditions, as regards soil type, as regards what is prevalent to be produced in a particular location all around Nigeria. When the youths have hands-on information on what is obtainable, for whether it's fishing, fish farming, whether it's maize farming or whatever, they will be able to be well informed, and they will be able to know what they are going into instead of going into it blindfolded. So we need digital innovations in agriculture, because I believe that over time digital innovation drags the youth and it brings them interested in any venture.
All right, thank you very much for coming on the program. Yes, we've talked about where government has, reiterated its commitment as regards ensuring that the sector is being moved. Let's listen to the minister shortly.
Today, and our friends and partners in the agriculture and food security sector, on our way forward towards delivering on the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and our strategies of operations over the next 4 years. My colleague, the Honorable Minister of State, and I are totally committed to providing the desired leadership, direction to steer the agriculture and food security sector towards attainment of the key priorities of Mr. President's 8-point agenda, which was unveiled on August 28, 2023, during the maiden Federal Executive Council meeting. Since our assumption of office on 21st August 2023, we have received several briefings from all the departments and agencies with a view to understanding where we are, what is ongoing, that is delivering the desired results and outcomes, and what needs to give way. Accordingly, we have examined what needs to change and what we need to do to realign existing initiatives and programs that are on course to be in line with the 4 priorities of the Renewed Hope agenda that are core to the mandates of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. For the avoidance of doubt, the following presidential priorities are our core agenda and are well aligned with the mandates and operations of our ministry. Number 1, food security. Number 2, economic growth and job creation. Number 3, poverty eradication. Number 4, inclusivity, that is for youth and women, and an enabling environment for individuals, groups, and the private sector to participate in governance and economic activities.
I guess you've listened to him and heard him speak firsthand. Agric is everybody's business, and everybody must put hands on deck in ensuring that the sector moves forward. That's how we wrap it up on the program this week. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching. I am Khadija Oluwatoyin. I'm saying bye. Stay out of troubles.